Hi everybody, welcome back to In The Huddle. I'm Jillian Kushner. If you haven't yet, please subscribe below. There's that little button right down there. Like the Facebook page, the link will be in the description box. And today is Thursday, so today's video is going to be about stuff coming up, the upcoming games this weekend, the big games, give y'all some talking points as to what to talk about. So before I get into those talking points, let me just say right now, the only sports that are in season right now are football, college and professional, basketball, only the NBA is in season actually right now, college basketball starting this weekend, and MLS. If you guys want to learn anything about soccer, let me know. I can start doing videos about that as well. The NBA season really just started like the end of November, so it's pretty much in the beginning stages of the season. Like most teams have played about 7 games. It's an 82 game season, so y'all can imagine not too many crucial games going on right now. So this video is really going to be focused on college football and NFL. Like I said, college basketball actually tips off this weekend, but again, it's the first weekend. It's not really big games. It's also a pretty long season, not as long as 82 games, but still pretty long. So like I said, this is just going to be really about NFL and college football because both of those, well, college football is near the end. The bowl games are in the end of December, so really we have like 2-3 more weeks. I think 3 more weeks left of college football, so that's kind of sad. And NFL, we have 7 more weeks, so some more time of that in the regular season, that is. So let's jump into this. In the NFL, the big games this weekend, there's not many, but there are a few. One of them being the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Atlanta Falcons. So the reason this game is a big deal is the Atlanta Falcons are actually one of the best teams in the NFL right now, which is kind of weird. Their record is currently 6-3, which is pretty good. And the Eagles right now, kind of in a weird like leeway moment. I'm an Eagles fan, so it's kind of hard to talk about because I don't like that we're not doing well, but right now we're 4-4, which is not ideal, obviously. So this is going to be a big game as far as the division goes because, so the way it works in the NFL is there's the NFC and the AFC. The Eagles and the Falcons are both in the NFC, but they're in different subdivisions in the NFC. So right now, the Falcons are the top of their division, being the NFC South, and the Eagles are the last of their division in the NFC East. So this is going to be a big game for the Eagles to win. If they can win, it's very big for them. If the Falcons lose, they'd still be in first place in their subdivision, so it doesn't really matter. But this is a very big game for the Eagles as far as that goes. So if you're ever talking to any Cowboys fans this weekend, if you're in Texas, that's probably all you'll be talking to. They're probably going for the Falcons. I briefly just mentioned the Cowboys, and actually they kind of have a big game this weekend as well. The Cowboys are the top of the NFC East division, so the division the Eagles are in, and they're playing the Steelers this weekend. And the Steelers, they're also 4-4, similar to the Eagles, but you never rule the Steelers out. The Steelers probably have the best wide receiver in the league right now in Antonio Brown. I mean, he is phenomenal. He's on my fantasy football team. The first week, I think he got me like 39 points, which is ridiculous. Like, that's a lot of points. He's incredible. I mean, like I said, he's probably the best wide receiver in the league, and I mean, if someone doesn't believe that, they can definitely understand the argument for it. He's incredible. Steelers are having their issues. Ben Roethlisberger, their quarterback, has been hurt. He's like going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, so it's going to be tough. But right now, the Cowboys are 7-1. They're on a 7-game win streak, I believe. So this is a big game for them because if they can win, then like they're kind of proving themselves. Because as an Eagles fan, I don't like the Cowboys, and I believe that they haven't actually played anyone. Like the matchups they've had haven't been good. They beat us, the Eagles, but that was in overtime, and we're going to get to overtime rules, another video, and why I don't agree with that. But the Cowboys really haven't played anybody. But if they're able to beat the Steelers, that's going to get a bit more respect. I still won't respect it, but because I don't think Ben Roethlisberger is going to play this weekend. But regardless, the Steelers are a better team, so that would add some interest into the conversation. But as far as the rest of the NFL, not really any big games this weekend other than those two. Right now, we're kind of in this weird state of most teams are kind of at 500 or like they're wiggling around 500, you know, they're 4-4 or something like that. Because we're in week 10, so like I said, there's 17 total weeks, and then we go into the playoffs. So in the next few weeks, it's going to start to get interesting. We're going to start seeing these clear leaders pull away, and it's going to be fun. So there's going to be definitely more big NFL games in following videos. And as for big games in college football, last week was actually like the biggest game. It was Alabama versus LSU. Unfortunately, Alabama won. Won't talk about it. But this weekend there are some big games, one of them being Baylor versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is ranked 11th in the country right now. Baylor was previously ranked but lost 2 straight and became unranked. You're welcome. Texas beat them and then TCU beat them. But Baylor is still 6-2, still pretty high up in the Big 12. Oklahoma is kind of the top of the Big 12 right now. So this will be very interesting as far as the Big 12 conference goes, and it's going to be an interesting one. They're actually playing at Oklahoma. I'd give Oklahoma the advantage here, but we're playing, this is going to be a very interesting game because the winner of this, okay, if Oklahoma wins, they're kind of cemented as the best in the Big 12. If Baylor were to win, things would get kind of interesting because Oklahoma beat Texas and TCU, where Baylor lost to Texas and TCU, and we would just get confusing. Right now, the Big 12 is fighting to get to the top 4 spots in the college football playoff rankings because then they can go into the bowl game. We'll discuss that in another video because that's its own level of complicated, but right now, the Big 12 kind of needs someone to emerge as like a really good contender. So this win would be very big for Oklahoma because it would kind of give them that extra push that they may need to get higher up in the rankings. But we'll just have to wait and see with this one. Oklahoma is favored to win by 16 points, which I think is a little wild there because Baylor, you cannot predict them. I mean, I thought they were going to beat Texas really badly, and they really didn't. I mean, they lost by 1 point, so it's really hard to follow with a team like Baylor. Another big game this weekend is going to be Clemson versus Pittsburgh. Clemson is the number 2 team in the country. Pittsburgh is not ranked, but they are 5-4, and they've had some weird like spurts of business. Like it's like they know what they're doing. That's not a team I would rule out. Clemson is 9-0, and they are trying to get into that college football playoffs. Well, they're in it, and they want to stay there for the rest of the season. So this is big for them. This is like, I mean, every game for them, the rest of the season is a must win. So they have to win this. And, you know, when you're at the top like that, a team like Pittsburgh comes in and they want to beat you. They want to beat the best team. They want to beat the number 4 team or the number 2 team or the number 1. You know, they want to beat those top teams, especially when you're unranked. You have nothing to lose. So this is going to be really hard for Clemson. I mean, they are going to be really fighting the rest of this season, especially this weekend. And probably the last big game this weekend is number 4 Washington versus number 20 USC. So Washington is also 9-0. This one came out of nowhere. I mean, if you told me that Washington was going to be the 4th team in the country this year, I would have looked at you like you were crazy. That would have never been on my radar. But here we are. USC is 6-3, but they're USC. Like, USC is one of those teams you will never ever rule out because they just have this rich football history that like they know what they're doing there. That is a very strong football school and they love that football program, so I would never rule that out. Lucky for Washington, the game is at Washington, but this is crucial for Washington to win. Washington just got into that 4th spot really this past weekend because A&M held that spot, Texas A&M, and then they lost this weekend. Yay. But this is really big. I mean, Washington was really upset about not getting that number 4 spot the previous week, and now they have it, and they are holding on to that spot for dear life. So they have to win this game. This is going to be big. It's the Saturday night game, so this is like prime time, and everyone's going to be watching it. So this is a huge game for them. Another thing riding on this game is the Heisman Trophy, which we can talk about in another video. It's basically the trophy, the award that goes to the best player in college football. Washington quarterback Jake Browning is in the running for it. He's kind of in the top 4 candidates as of right now, so he has that riding on it because, you know, you have to win all your games really to win that Heisman, and this is a very high-pressure situation for Washington. I actually feel bad that they're in this because this is scary because they have so much pressure on them to win this game, and we're going to see what happens. It could be very interesting, but I think that, you know, the games I just talked about, those are really the ones to pay attention to this weekend. You know, follow them along, check the scores, whatever. Follow me on Twitter. I'll probably be tweeting about them. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you on Tuesday. We're going to talk more about football. It's going to be Football Basics Part 2. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you then.